Hi. So I got a question in my last stream, and the question went like this. How expensive is your stuff? Everything sounds so clean. Well, in that stream, I sort of weaseled my way around answering, or more like not answering the question. Because no matter how I would have answered it, it would have left me feeling uncomfortable. Because, you know, how do you define expensive? That's a matter of your personal view. Maybe 300 euros overall is not expensive for you. Maybe it is. Maybe 600 euros overall is expensive for you. Maybe it isn't. Who knows? It's pretty much impossible for me to say or to phrase this correctly. I mean, to let's say it bluntly here. It's not just the microphone. It's everything that I'm using, which I'm counting for, because everything that I'm using does matter. All right. So it's this microphone, the Shure Beta 58A. It's this shock mount, the Shure A55M. It's this windshield, the Shure A58WS. It's this microphone stand, the K&M 252. It's this microphone cable, the Cordial CRM. I think that's pretty much it. CRM. It's a 5-meter cable. It's this audio interface, the Motu M4. All of this combined comes out for around 560 euros. I can't give you a number in US dollars because, frankly, I can't find this microphone cable in the US. And if I look for, matching cables, cables, sorry, which are which have the same build quality as this, can be a lot more expensive. So when I looked for a good microphone cable in terms of, shielding, and shielding is quite a big deal because you have that much stuff, electrical stuff around your computer, and everything of that can uh, cause interferences in your microphone signal because it makes its way into the cable. Hmm. Um, well, like I said, I didn't find a cable like that. But let's say I would use the matching cable that I found. In that case, all of this would be 640 US. There you go. And I will not lie. I will not pretend this wasn't a lot of money, because it really is. The thing is, you probably wouldn't need all of this for like 90% of the sound quality that you are hearing right now. For example, the audio interface, as far as the audio quality is concerned, is completely irrelevant. It doesn't matter at all. So, you can use a dirt cheap audio interface like the Behringer UMC 202 HD. You can use that. You will probably not hear a difference at all using this microphone or even a much more expensive one. You can probably use this microphone instead of this. This is a dirt cheap dynamic singing microphone, the Behringer BA85A. It's like 25 euros, 26 US dollars. It's really dirt cheap compared to this microphone. This microphone comes in at 160 euros, 135 US. It's like 5 to 6 times the price depending where you buy those two microphones. Does this sound like 5 times as good as this? We will find out later. So, like I said, it's not just the stuff that you're using. That's what I wanted to say when I said on the stream, it's not about the microphone that you are using. I have to stick by that point, and I will now explain in detail why that is. To do that, I will now disable the expander gates. They are gone now. And you can hear that because now you can hear every breath that I take as if I was breathing up your ear. And well, the thing is, obviously, I could do it like this. You know, moving myself away each time I'm taking a breath. But it really looks stupid, doesn't it? So, yeah, come on, let's stick to the facts here. I'm using those expander gates to get rid of things like my breathing and, for example, making the clicking noise of my gamepads quieter or making the typing on my keyboard quieter. Those kind of stuff. This is why I'm using the expander gate. I'm not using it to remove the noise. That's what I'm doing with a noise reduction filter, which I'm disabling right now. So now you can hear the noise out of my room within the recording. I'm not using anything to make it sound better. Or do I? To be fair, I'm still using something. And that is the EQ. Remember when I said it's not so much about the microphone that you're using, but the use you make out of it? Let me explain why that is. When you're listening to my voice, this does sound pretty natural. It's pretty close to how I would sound in real life. And, if I disable the EQ, it would stop to sound like this. It would actually sound like this. Suddenly my voice is pretty damn bassy. And some people actually go for something like this, but as far as I'm concerned, no, that's not what I want. So I'm using my EQ to remove a lot of the bass and remove a lot of the frequency range that for me consists of mostly the sibilants in my voice, the S sounds. S, T, things like that. Z. I'm trying to make them sound as tame as possible. But it doesn't stop here. I'm using my EQ, of course, to make my voice sound better, but this has a nice side effect to it. And to show you what I mean, I will now demonstrate one other thing. You will have noticed I'm using the microphone quite close to myself. Why is that? Well, I'm reducing the noise with that. I know, what? Yes, I do. Let me show you. I'm removing the microphone further away from myself. Now I'm a lot quieter than before. And now I'm adding more gain until I'm back to the volume that you were listening to before. This is where we are now, and do you hear that? The noise in this room has risen. Just because the microphone is further away from myself and I had to add more gain to raise the overall volume again. Why is that? Well, I could be cocky and say, well, that's because a thing named physics. And it's actually true. I mean, let me explain. When I'm further away from the microphone, my voice has to travel. That was my smartphone, I'm sorry. Let's actually mute it in case I get more messages. Okay, my voice has to travel. And the further it has to travel, the more distance it has to travel, the weaker it gets. And you will have noticed my bass is quite a bit more when I'm close to the microphone, as opposed to being further away. So this is another thing you have to account for. You could say, okay, if I'm this far away, I don't need the EQ. So, okay, let's just leave the thing away. I don't need the EQ. I'm getting the same good sound. Right? Well, you will notice, I mean, right now I'm back to almost the kind of sound we had before. But the noise in this room has become even louder. I disable the EQ. Let's enable it again. Disable. Enable. Disable. Enable. Disable. Impressive, isn't it? Anyways, so I'm using this thing to counteract the proximity effect, which makes my voice so damn bassy if I'm close to the microphone. But at the same time, I'm actually reducing the noise. And what's more, now I'm having the microphone close to myself again. I'm using again the EQ. I'm applying less gain. And because of that, suddenly the noise in my room has almost vanished. Okay, so you can see this post-processing, the EQ, already did two things. It removed the bassier parts of my voice, so I don't sound like the voice of God. I'm very impressive. But actually, no, I'm just boomy. um, you know, I made my voice sound more natural. But at the same time, I removed noise. And this makes the next step quite easy. I have so little noise, if I want to get rid of that, my noise removal plugin doesn't have to do as much. See? It's now, bouncing between minus 78 and minus 73 decibels reference to full scale. To put it in layman's terms, damn, that's quiet. You have pretty much no noise anymore. Especially in comparison to my voice, which is so very loud. In comparison, again. Okay, next I'm adding the noise gates again. This is number 1. And you will notice this barely changed the volume, but let's say it removed the last bits of roominess from my voice and makes my voice, well, come out of nothing. It's just there. It's just my voice with no room anymore. As well, and one more thing, the breathing. It's still there, but now that I'm having this expander gate in place, the breathing is less loud. But let's say I'm not happy with that. I want to have even less breathing noise. It's nothing easier than that, because your filter already attenuated the volume of the breathing noise. And for that matter, it also will have attenuated clicking sounds from my gamepad or something like that. So I'm using the same gate, the same expander gate, again, this time with even weaker settings, because I don't need to have it as far up anymore. And this is what you get. Now I'm having pretty much no breathing noise whatsoever anymore. I mean, yes, if I'm doing slash breathing, you can still hear it. But, well, I think that's actually okay. For the most part, you can say the breathing is gone. Completely gone. Okay, one more thing, even though I pretty much explained everything here. Users of the Shure SM7B, which is infamous for being super quiet on the output, user of the Shure SM7B, dynamic broadcast microphone, even though I personally think there is no such thing as a broadcast microphone. I mean, come on, this could be an awesome broadcast microphone. If you know how to set it up, obviously. But the same is true for any microphone. Anyways, so Users of the Shure SM7B say you need a lot of gain. But do you? I mean, do you really? Let me explain why I doubt that. This microphone has an output of minus 51 dBV, decibels reference to voltage, I think. I don't know how it's spoken. Anyway, it doesn't make so much of a difference to what I want to say. This one has minus 51 dBV output. The Shure SM7B has minus 59 dBV. It means, as far as the signal on the audio interface is concerned, this audio interface will be around 8 decibels reference to full scale louder on your PC as the Shure SM7B would be on the same gain setting. And here things become funny. This audio interface for this microphone currently uses nowhere near 51 decibels of gain. It just doesn't. It wouldn't make any sense. Because if I did, I would be so close to clipping. I would just need to raise my voice and I already would start to clip. The sound would distort horribly. So I'm using just this much of gain, which naturally, just by itself, would make my microphone sound not like this, but like this. See? I'm very quiet now. So let's get up to the normal volume again. You noticed I was damn quiet. I am adding with by the use of a maximizer. It's a free plugin named LoudMax. I really recommend to check it out. I'm using that plugin to add 27 decibels to the signal. I'm making it 27 decibels louder. Here's the thing about this plugin. It also includes a brick wall limiter. It means that's a kind of limiter that makes sure that no sound ever gets louder than the limit that you set. Normally, a limiter, well, it does try to mitigate things that go above it, but it can only do so much. This brick wall limiter has my gain set dead on. You will notice that when I'm talking, as I'm doing right now, the volume is pretty much always the same. It doesn't make a difference whether I'm talking like this or I even shout like this. So it obviously sounded as if I was shouting just now. The thing is, the sound still stayed the same. This is what a limiter does. I can even, shout out laughing, like, like this. It still doesn't clip. There you go. I mean, this is what this plugin alone does. And this drives home the point. You don't need a lot of gain. Currently, I'm using 30 decibels of gain. if I would use the Shure SM7B, I would probably use around 10 decibels more gain, because of the way it's constructed. I would be a little further away, and I mean to the capsule. Um, and that means all of that considered, that means I would just need 40 decibels of gain, not like 60 decibels of gain, like many people on the internet to this day still claim about that microphone. You don't need that much. Full stop. Period. Discussion is over. You don't need it. So yeah, okay, let's actually switch to the other microphone now to drive home the point. So this is the super cheap microphone that I bought just for shits and giggles, just because I wanted to know how good could a super dirt cheap microphone like this possibly be. Well, you are listening to it right now. You tell me whether this microphone is worth 5 to 6 times the price of this microphone. Very possibly not. Right? Okay, let's switch back. Sorry for the rumble just now. I disabled the EQ before I unplugged. And, that's one weakness of this microphone. It has horrible handling noise. And that's what you heard just now. It's ridiculous, really. But the fun part is you can actually reduce this. I mean, let's switch back just like this. All right, you heard it. The rumble became noticeably less. Okay. So yeah, this is the super cheap microphone. It's really not that much worse. Especially if you consider that most people still use a USB microphone, in which case the capsule is probably worth less than the capsule in here. It's perverted, really, but yeah, that's how it is. So, there you go. This is the quite lengthy answer to the question, how is that stuff that I'm using expensive? It sure is, but you don't need to pay this much. I mean, you heard it just now. It doesn't make a difference whether I'm using another audio interface. I have used the Behringer UMC 202 HD, a 70 euros, 80, $90 audio interface before this one. And it doesn't really sound different at all. It doesn't. And because of that, well, it comes down to this microphone versus this microphone. You tell me, do you need this microphone? For the most part, I say no, because you can use post processing to get this microphone, which granted sounded quite muffled in comparison to this, sound closer to this microphone. You can make them sound or make them sound easily, similarly intelligible. And I say even similarly enjoyable. Okay. So, like I said, it was a really lengthy video, but and I'm fairly aware of the fact that I tend to drone on and on and on about topics like this. But it goes to show I value the sound in my stream a lot. And in case you didn't see, I also value the visuals quite a bit. I mean, it's not just about the camera that you're using, it's about the light. And I'm not just talking about this light. I'm also talking about this light and that light. There you go. It's not about what you're using, but how you use it. We see each other again. Bye.